wonder why it's like so freaking loud right here. It's because my computer. Okay. So the reason I want to do this video is I own the 4.6K Mini Ursa Pro, and a couple weeks ago I had a shoot that we're shooting on the FS7, but then the client almost decided to go onto the Red. Well, the producer I worked for decided to go ahead and pick up a Scarlet Weapon, so I got to babysit it for a weekend. So I'm comparing the two of them. So the 4.6K Mini Pro versus the Scarlet Weapon. I love the Ursa Mini for one reason. It's an all-in-one solution. There's no add-ons. There's no this, that. It has mic inputs. It has integrated media. It has a screen. It has audio levels. It's very E&G style. However, it's got a very Alexa-like style to it, you know. So it's got a great top handle, shoulder mount. It's balanced well. Runs V-mounts. You can run all day off of 250 watt V-mount batteries. It's awesome. So I played with the Red Scarlet Weapon. Here are my initial pros and cons of the two cameras. Okay, well, let's do pros first. Pros are as follows, and I may put them up on the screen, I may not. It depends on how lazy I get. So for the Red Weapon Scarlet, my pros that I had as I was using it is obviously dynamic range. Dynamic range is huge, can go anywhere from 14, in some cases it'll shoot HDR all the way up to 18. I did not play with the specific resolutions, frame rates, and look and see what the dynamic range was on all those, but according to the website, it is quite impressive. The media is robust. It's very proprietary. It's very expensive, but that combined with RD3s, which is Red Raw's compression system, and then the coloring, you know, red coloring has always been great. Sharp images. And I love that their new 7 and 5-inch screens, I think they've always been touch screen, but the interface, I think they've changed it a little bit. Along the top bar is really easy to use. You got your histograms and your scopes and everything along the bottom. The other thing I love is the frame rates. You get tons of frame rates, and I think it does a really good job. I did not see rolling shutter really too bad, or aliasing too bad on the Red. Again, it's just a solid piece of equipment. So those are the pros for the Red Scarlet Weapon. Okay, the pros for the 4.6K: integrated ND filters and IR filters. Internal, don't have to worry about it. The price is a huge pro. It has an integrated screen. On the 4.6, it has a 5-inch. On the Pro, it has a 4.6. It doesn't bother me. I definitely think I'm going to look at getting an Atomos Sumo as a director's monitor. You can definitely pull focus on it, and the peaking's great on it, but a 4-inch monitor, you might just be missing stuff like wall sockets that you wanted to cover up, or you might miss stuff like, you know, there's a plant and it just wasn't right, and it's hard to see some of the details, especially when set dressing and you're a single operator. A bigger monitor definitely helps with those little details that make your projects better. Skin tones. Skin tones, on this new sensor, it's not a new sensor, but on this new camera, I have not had a lot of problems. I had issues with fixed pattern noise at the beginning. The new firmware seemed to take that away. And the skin tones are amazing. They seem to just come out very natural, very Alexa-like. I did pick up the LUT pack by James Miller at Luts, and I will link his stuff in the description below. I think for $25 you get like over 100 or so Luts. So I think that's really good. If you like to color yourself, you shoot it in film, you get 16 stops of dynamic range. And again, on the 4.6, you get a ton of other flavors of recording options like RAW, 3:1, 4:1, and the ProRes from 444 HQ all the way down to LT. So let's go with the cons, because when I think of cons, for me, it's mostly a pocketbook issue. And let's be honest, when you're looking at a camera, if it's in your price range, and if I could afford a red, no problem. I don't know if I would buy a Blackmagic. I don't know if, like, oh, I love the color science and the skin tones so much. You know, in the film industry, it's a lot about bringing the big toys. However, from my experience, I've seen people do amazing things on 7D Mark IIs, on Nikons, on Blackmagic pocket cameras, on production cameras. I've seen people do amazing things on the Ursas. I've seen people take the Ursa to amazing places. They think they're fragile cameras. You can't take them places. I don't think that's true. I think that if you have the ability to carry, a 25-pound rucksack somewhere, you can roll with an Ursa Mini. A red is just as heavy, and all the support gear that goes with a red. I actually think for field work, the Blackmagic with the ND filters is much better option. So let's run down pricing, because that's really where it separates these two apart. I think you can get professional results for commercials, high-end commercials with both cameras, but here's what sets them apart, and I think that's price, honestly. Frame rate, some of the other pros and cons, I mean, obviously, but for me, it was price. Okay, so the Blackmagic body's 6K, the viewfinder's 1.5K. Okay, if you get a set of batteries, that's $600. A set of CF cards, that's another $600. Shoulder mount is $300. So all in, you're around like a camera ready to shoot, minus whatever follow focus and lenses. You're into this thing about $9,000, which I think is a great deal for something that shoots RAW, shoots ProRes, and has great color science, and has a lot of support from the factory as well. The red, on the other hand, now this price may change, so you guys can correct me in the comments below, but the red, Scarlet W, when it first came out, it was like a $9,500 brain. Two 480 gig mags are like $1,700 or $1,800 a pop, so that's almost $4,000. The 7-inch touchscreen is $2,500. And then one thing I noticed when my buddy got his is it had a bunch of OLPF mounts and filters. Sorry, OLF filters. And there was a skin tone, there was a low light, there was an optimized. And you have to take the EF mount off and expose the sensor and then to put that OLPF filter back on. I thought that was ridiculous. I really hope that if you really want to get good skin tones, or you really want to get low light on the Scarlet W, you are not really having to disassemble the front of the camera every time, because that would be a deal breaker for me. Yeah, so my buddy, I saw his invoice. It ended up being just under $20,000. I think he got a good deal. Someone told me that the Scarlet Weapon brain has gone up to $14,500 now, so that might not be accurate. All in all, I think they're both great cameras. Personally, having a camera you know well and you know you can get great images is the most important thing. If you have a client that needs something that the red is better at, just go rent a red. Don't always try and push your camera on your client. Your client wants something, give them what they want. Just make sure you put that in your budget and you're safe. I always like to offer my camera only for convenience sake, that I know how to operate it and I know I'm going to get good images out of it. And it's kind of like it's my paintbrush as someone that's doing this as a creative field. That is my paintbrush. I know how it works. I know its quirks, and every camera has one. So anyways, I will put up at the end of this video 2 or 3 examples of both cameras in similar situations. Try and do some tests so you can just kind of see some side-by-side stuff so you guys can make the choice. At the end of the day, honestly though, I think your pocketbooks are going to make the choice.
been working with Amy for about 2 months now, and we always joke we should have taken a before and after video because there have been drastic improvements. I
caught up with the pageant world. Amy has trained me not only in modeling and poise on stage and posing, but she's helped to bring out my confidence and help reveal my strengths.